Hey everybody, it's Romania Black, and I got a new red mug because I want it to be red for Sayrene. Oh my gosh, we're at the movie for Kuroko's basketball. Can you believe it? Oh, I've been getting a little bit sad on the channel, if I'm being honest, because when I finished the last 3 episodes of the anime, everybody was like, well, Kuroko's come to an end, and I was like, so none of y'all are going to be watching any of the extra stuff that I'm reacting to. So I was like, damn it, no. I mean, I don't mind. I've talked with the Discord, and like, for example, Kelsey on Patreon has said repeatedly in the Discord that audio dramas and songs are not their thing. And I totally understand that. If you don't want to watch the reactions to the songs or the audio dramas, that's fine. Or anything like that. I would recommend watching the specials if you've not already, because they're animated and it's fun. But it is just kind of sad because I'm sitting over here like, well, I'm going to be spending the next 2 months recording all of these reactions that no one's going to watch. So I didn't know or talk about. So I hope that's not the case. I hope you all do get a chance to at least view some of them, or at least talk in the comments or something, because otherwise it's going to be a pretty quiet discussion about me just looking at things nobody cares about. So I'm like, oh, damn it. I'm sure you all do care about them, but I do get that impression. Like, as soon as the anime is over, everybody's like, oh, react to all the extra content. And then when I do, nobody wants to talk about the extra content. And I'm like, well, not that I wasted my time, but it's just kind of like, okay. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully the manga, people have things to say about it, etc. and so forth. But I do have some comments from the last set of episodes that I do want to address before we dive into this movie, because it is an hour and a half, which is really exciting. And I'm watching it knowing that I have not been spoiled in any regard with the movie. I'm so excited. I made it to the movie with no spoilers, and that rarely happens. So I've been so excited. So thank you all so much for not spoiling me on the movie. That's really exciting. I really, really look forward to getting into stuff completely blind, and I know nothing about this movie. Not a thing. Not one thing. So I'm going in it going, what the hell is this going to be about? And I have no clue. So it's going to be super excited. I'm really hyped to get into this, not knowing what in the world I'm about to dive into. So that's exciting. So who knows? Who knows what it's going to be like? But before we start, I do want to address a couple comments. A lot of people have noted this in the comment, and it's nothing really crazy, but Kelsey on Patreon was talking about Matobe, and when he, like, yells for defense, and she was like, so is he actually yelling or just pantomiming? And I was like, it's kind of, one, if he's just sitting there going, it's hilarious because nothing's coming out. It's like, what are you doing? It's just the act of, and he wants to, like, be a part of it. But if he's actually yelling and the show is just teasing us at this point, then I'm like, really? What are we doing? What are we doing? So yeah, what can we do about that, right? So I thought that was really, really funny. And then Kim talked about how they said, is the Almine, is the anime season 3 final game underwhelming? I don't know why I said Almine. Underwhelming or overwhelming? Talking about the gameplay versus manga tropes and expectations. And yeah, anytime that an anime, like a sports anime, gets to the finale, you have such a high bar to cross, because especially like I'll use Run with the Wind for an example. Run with the Wind, if you've not seen that sports anime, mwah, chef's kiss. It's beautiful. But it's only 24 episodes. So it builds up to a point, has a very, very good finale. It's like one of my favorite sports anime finales. It's just mwah. Slam Dunk is a very long anime. Like, I watched through it and read through the manga. It is long. And I feel like I was kind of let down by Slam Dunk's finish, because it felt like the resolution just kind of went, and that was it, right? And there's lots of reasons behind that. So if you've not watched Slam Dunk or read it, I still highly recommend it. And I'll use Slam Dunk as a comparison against Kuroko's basketball, because Slam Dunk, if you came into this anime for the gameplay, you need to be reading Slam Dunk, because Slam Dunk is more about the basketball gameplay, the basics, how it works, the strategies. Like, if you're a basketball person, Slam Dunk, you can really appreciate it because it goes into a lot of detail about how the game works. Kuroko's is not exactly like that. Kuroko's is kind of more about character development. And looking into these characters and their relationships and the themes of friendship and the importance of teamwork in a sport. And for that reason, I give Kuroko, a lot of people in the comments were saying that they didn't care so much for the final game, Kim included, because the gameplay was kind of, there was a lot of like, I'm I'm not saying they were ass pulls, but some people in the comments were saying that there was like the zones and things were getting like crazy and over the top and maybe almost jumping the shark. And I'm like, no, I get that. I agree. The Wi-Fi zone, the fudge, what is that? I can accept the true zone because it builds on the entire premise of the entire series. And yes, is it cheesy? 100%. Is it hokey? Yes. Does it fit the thematic elements they've built up for the last 75 episodes? You better damn believe it. And I was like, okay, sold. You did it. I'm all for it. I understand its cheesiness. I'm willing to forgive it because it's tied to the themes, right? And it makes a lot of sense in that regard. But I will not disagree with anybody that says that the last game isn't their favorite because the gameplay, things get over the top and kind of like shonen-esque more than a sports anime. And I'm totally about that. I get that. That is a very valid conclusion. So I thought that was really a good thing to note, right? And Kim had a really cool comment in the last set talking about just the expectations. And it's hard. Like, the mangaka has a hard row to hoe when you're finishing up a series because you have so many fans of so many characters at this point. You're trying to give each character a nice resolution and you're trying to appease everybody all at once while wrapping up the story and while giving it a conclusion. So it's not easy, and I don't envy any creator that has to round out the third part of any story. It's hard, especially the longer a series goes, the more expectations you build up with your fan base, and the more chances there are for somebody to not be happy with how you resolve something. So that totally makes sense, right? So I can understand that. I think the OVA does a beautiful job of, if you weren't totally satisfied with the ending of the anime, at least the OVA gives you that nice bit of dessert at the end of your meal. It's like, here's your cake. Here's everybody getting along and having a good time. They're throwing Kuroko a birthday party. You get to see his happy face. There's lots of shipping moments. It's really sweet and cool. Everybody's getting along. It's like, it's your chance to be happy and go, okay, fine. Like at the end of the series, right? So I thought that was really cool, Kim, and I'm glad you pointed that out. And then finally, I got a lot of comments about Akashi. I'm not gonna dwindle too long on Akashi for this because we have a movie to get through. And plus, I've noted in the past several weeks with the reactions and discussion that I'm going to be starting the manga the same week that this comes out on YouTube and Patreon. And so I'm going to be diving into the manga with a fresh pair of eyes, giving every character a fair shake. And here's the thing. There are characters in other series, like I'm reading the Attack on Titan manga the same time that this is coming out, and I've watched the Attack on Titan anime. There are several characters in Attack on Titan's anime that I had very distinct hardcore reactions to and feelings about that the manga has already made me completely reevaluate, completely reappreciate in new and exciting ways. And I'm looking forward to hopefully getting that appreciation by looking at the source material, because anytime you adapt something from the original to a new medium or a new form, there are always things, it's very rare that you get a direct adaptation that doesn't change, alter, or leave anything out. It's very rare, right? And so I'm really looking forward to getting to the OG material. But I will say that it's okay. Like I've said before, if you love Akashi as a character, it's fine. I had a lot of comments that were saying that I didn't understand Akashi, and I'm like, no, I get him. And I had a lot saying that I didn't understand mental illness. No, I get it. It's my thing is, as I said in the discussion, I'm not so much upset at Akashi as a character, more so as the mangaka, because a lot of the things I addressed in that discussion about things narratively that I felt the mangaka didn't do, nobody in the comments addressed those. They just talked about other things. And I'm like, my thing is, I was very much hyped up to his character, that his character was going to be this amazing, had this amazing backstory, this amazing narrative, and everything I got was very predictable. And stuff that I had kind of, even in the reactions, predicted was going to happen before it did. And I was like, oh, okay. And I kept waiting for this revolutionary thing to happen that didn't happen. So all of my hype it didn't meet up to my expectations, because I like to think I have a pretty good imagination. And my thing is, as a mangaka, if myself as a viewer can come up with what I would argue is a better resolution for a character than the creator of the series, that's saying something, right? Because I felt like the whole resolution that I thought of, I'm like, why didn't the mangaka do that? That would have been a great idea. And maybe the manga will give me more of this character to add on to what the anime gave us that will make me appreciate him in a better way. I want to give him a fair shake. But Chelsea in the comments talked about how something I think really no one else had addressed that I wanted to bring up. And it was the idea that Akashi's mental illness, his DID, the disorder, the dissociative identity disorder, was treated more like a superpower than an actual mental illness. And that really struck me. I was like, yeah, that's one of my biggest problems with it, is because as soon as it becomes evil Akashi, he becomes this like OP character. And I'm like, it's making something that is a mental illness like a superpower. And you can take that in a good way, except the problem is it's not treated as a good thing. It's treated as a bad thing. And so that was kind of my big thing with that. And there was a lot of over dramatization of it. And I think my biggest problem with the mangaka is with Akashi's character is I don't think the mangaka did as much research as the audience did on the supposed mental illness that the audience projects onto the character. Because the mangaka never comes out and says that Akashi has this disorder. Akashi says, oh, there's two of me, I have a split personality. But it's almost like the mangaka didn't really do a lot of research into it. And so everyone else that's watched the series has done their research. And they're like, well, yeah, he fits all these, checks all these boxes. But I'm like, because the creator didn't do that same research, they don't give the character the proper care that I feel like they deserve with that. And so narratively, it comes across as rushed, as not as fleshed out, and the resolution is much more flimsy and doesn't hold as much ground or water to it as, let's say, Amine's character development does. So I feel like I've talked a lot in the discussion about Akashi. I haven't changed my mind. I still don't like him as a character, but that's just me. That's just how I am. Some people love him. Y'all can. Totally fine. If you hate Kagami, cool. I love him. So I will not judge anybody for who they like as a character, but I did feel some of the comments were trying to like tell me I was wrong for disliking him or saying I didn't understand him and that's why I didn't like him. And I was like, no, I get him. He's pretty easy to understand as a character. I just don't like what they did with him. So hopefully that will change, but I do appreciate, there were a couple people that pointed out some really, they were like, yeah, I like Akashi, but here's some things to go along with it. So I did appreciate that too. And yes, I was quite spiteful in that discussion. I am fully aware, and I even said it in the discussion, I'm going to be harsh with him because I felt like I'm not the type of person as a reactor that's just, I am not the reactor that's gonna like pander to everyone and be like, oh, they're all just great characters and I just love every single one of them. I'm not like that at all. I'm very opinionated and I will stress my opinion. I've watched some reactors. I don't watch a lot of reactors, but I watched some, they were just like, everyone's sunshine and rainbows. And I'm like, no. I can't do that. I can't be fake with you all. I just can't. No. I'm going to be 100 and you all can keep it 100 too. That's not going to bother me. But yeah. So I am excited to hopefully get more into his character now that I'm past the main series and through the audio dramas, through the manga, through all that extra stuff to dive into his character even more. I think that'll be a lot of fun. But I've spent nearly 15 minutes on this intro and that's way too much time. So I will keep the Akashi comments at a minimum until they come up in the manga and then we can talk to our heart's content, right? And hopefully be able to look at it with an open mind, right? That's the goal. But yeah, so y'all, the movie, I'm excited. I have no clue what to expect. I am really looking forward to seeing what the hell we're about to get and to fangirl with you all and freak out because it's a movie. It's called Last Game. What does that mean? I don't know. So, I got home from my trip today. I was on a trip for the weekend. I just got home like a couple hours ago. I got settled back in, answered some comments, got on the Discord for a little bit, and now I'm like, all right, let's effing do this. I'm ready for this. So, yes, we are going to start Kuroko's Basketball, The Last Game, the movie. And we are going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and I'll see y'all on the other side. You're going to love the movie, Romania, aren't you? Well, I did up until the ending. No! I don't want Kagami to leave Kuroko's side. And now that Amine is going to America, You all knew that this was going to happen, didn't you? You all knew. You were like, look at her shipping Kagakuro only to have it torn apart. I have theories. The ship isn't dead. No. I was for a second gonna be like, is Kuroko gonna like go with Kagami to America? Can he do that? Can he do that? But I have lots of theories, and so we'll talk about them. But I'm like, no, they're in all the 10th anniversary material together, right? Right? I'm gonna be looking at that next week, right? Yes. Okay. Okay. So next week, I am going to be looking at the 10th anniversary audio drama and the 10th anniversary song that came out. So I better get some damn fan service from that to make up for that heartbreak at the end. No. I brought Whiteboard Queen out because we obviously need to talk about things with the movie because there's a lot going on in the movie. It's an hour and a half of just goodness, but I'm going to save my Kagakuro, Aomine going to America, like all that shippy stuff. We'll save that for the end. But my heart was a little bit broken, I'm not going to lie, because I'm the biggest Kagakuro shipper. And to suggest that they're going to be separated, I'm like, what's Kuroko going to do? He's going to be a shadow. Who's going to be his light? Who's going to do that, Kagami, if you're not there? You know what it reminds me of? Ace of the Diamond. It does. It reminds me of Ace of the Diamond right here. So, quick 30-second shout out, and then I'll come back to it later at the end. But like, it kept reminding me of like, if when Miyuki graduates and Sawamura is left without him, they're the ultimate battery. What are they gonna do? Well, I guess Kuroko's gonna have to make do with just like Sawamura made do with Koshu and whoever his third year. Kuroko's gonna have to make do for a couple years with so and so or whoever. I guess Matobe's gonna stand up, I guess. And then what, right? But then just like an Ace of the Diamond, that Sawamura is going to chase Miyuki down. And that Kuroko's going to chase Kagami down. It's coming, right? We'll talk about that when we get to the end of the movie. We're going to talk about that, but I was like, okay. I was like, come on, Romania. You can't be sad. Nope. It's going to be all right. Man. So this movie was a lot of fun. It was so wholesome in a lot of ways. I do think it's not perfect, right? I think that there's things about the movie that I wish narratively were done a little bit differently, but you got an hour and a half to play with. But I do think there were some aspects of the movie that I was like, why did you do that when you didn't utilize any of them? It's not a perfect film, right? I really love the movie a lot. There are plot hole things that I'm kind of like, that I'm really hoping. Apparently there's a 2-volume manga that this is based off of too, or that came out afterwards, that's 2 volumes. So I'm really hoping that I definitely am going to react to that. So I'm hoping that we get more with that with the series later on. That would be a lot of fun. But there's narratively some things that I'm like, and then narratively there's some things that I love about this movie, obviously. So we're going to have, I guess it would only seem fitting if we had 2 different segments up here, right? We need 2 segments, right? We need the, oh my goodness, I'm dropping markers left and right. We need the love portion, right? We have the love it portion, and then we have love it or leave it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to love or leave. That's where we're at, right? We're going to do one or the other and go from there, right? That seems like the best thing to do. So, let's start out this thing here and go to, this is not Seirine, right? Where we start out the film. It isn't Seirine, is it? I feel like it's not, right? It looks a little bit different. We have class 2-3, which is, I'm Kagami Taiga from America. Yeah. He's like, I played basketball while I was there. And my dream is to play in the NBA someday. So they bring it all back. It all comes full circle. Kagami wanting to play in the NBA. And he's like, it's nice to meet you. And everyone here, it seems like they're all in middle school. He's amazing and unusual. And of course, these assholes in the back are just like, we just don't understand. He's different from us and he brushed it. He's better than him. I feel like that was one thing that was kind of weird in there was, and I guess we're going to put we're going to put love it or leave it or meh over here, right? We're going to put the meh section here. I guess the opening with Kagami is one that I'm kind of a little confused about, because I'm not necessarily confused because it seems like this is middle school, right? He was at middle school somewhere. He came back from America, went back to Japan to play middle school. He was a second year. And then when he started playing, because he looks obviously younger, he gets the middle school animation treatment that Kuroko and the others did during the Taiko flashback. He looks like a BB. And so he goes back there and he's obviously doing well, but the team just doesn't understand him and they don't like him, right? They think that he's trying to show them up. It almost looks like Kaijo, which is the crazy thing. The jerseys make it look like he was at Kaijo and then moved before Kisei could get there, right? It's so bizarre. And I don't think that's the case, but what if that was? What if he was at Kaijo before he came to Seirin? Wouldn't that be weird? But I don't think it's the case. I think they just have blue jerseys like Kaijo and it's just a coincidence. But what's so sad and frustrating about this is that Kagami, he doesn't have the communication and support that he gets at Seirin. It shows that he was struggling. It's kind of like while Teiko is dealing with their Generation of Miracles and all that trauma going on over there, it's showing that Kagami in middle school is kind of dealing with a similar thing in that nobody really understands him and they don't really want to work with him because they think he just thinks that he's better than them. And Kagami's like, and we know as the audience that Kagami is a communicative person. That's not the case. He's like a nice guy. And these guys just don't understand and they don't care for it. And so instead they all just kind of abandon him and he's just sitting there like, I'm bored. Nobody's here to play with. Like, this just kind of sucks. Which is, you know, it's sad that that's happening. And then he says, someone do something. And so he finds his team, and then we cut to him at Seirin, you know, years later, where he's with Kuroko, and he's aged up a little bit, he looks older, but I feel like that transition of him, someone do something, I felt like it could have been a little bit better or more fluid to get to that point, because then it's like we're back in high school mode, he's with Kuroko, he's grown up, and he gets the call from Alex about America. And I'm sorry, but Alex's English is fine. But that man, the deaf word definitely. Look, I understand if English is not your first language, it's okay. And differentiating some of the letters can be very hard in English, but you should have done a take two. I feel like I was like, that's a take you went with? All right. Okay. I long for the day of Free, where Free does English so well with their Japanese voice actors, and the guy playing Nash did it the best out of all of them. So, and the announcer for the random game, the street ball game, he did it the best too. I was like, they should have had you play every role in this. It's not as bad as Free with Albert though. I will help you, Haru. Like, it's not quite that bad, but it was like, ooh, that was rough. That was a rough take. But so basically they want Kagami to come to their American high school where there are tropics in the windows. I was like, what the heck? So he's like, we want a talented player like that to come here. And his gestures are so weird. I was like, do Americans gesture like this? It was just, his character was odd. I feel like I can make fun of him because it was just so weird and random. And Alex is like, I guarantee he loves basketball more than anything else. So the weird thing about that moment is that they're kind of establishing, like, they use Kagami being bored in middle school in Japan as almost an impetus for why he wants to go back to America. But I'm like, but we just spent 3 seasons of Kagami getting to know Seirin's team and developing these bonds with him, and he's just like, I gotta go to America, guys. And you're just like, no! So I'm like, I'm gonna put under here that, yes, Kagami and Kuroko splitting is heartbreaking to me. I don't like it at all. I'm like, no! Because then I'm like, damn, Seirin, you're gonna win next season? No, you are not. Kuroko and Teppei are both gone. Unless you get some badass first years to join Seirin, I don't think y'all are doing jack shit. I mean, maybe they did set up, you know, Kugane and Izuki and Hyuga are great players. And with Kuroko, you know, the 4 of them. But where's that 5th player? Matobe's going to have to be center without Teppei. Where's your other players? Like, they got to have some good first years come up to be anything, right? I mean, you can't split the Kagami and Kuroko duo. No. I'm so frustrated by that. We'll talk more about it, though, when we get back to it, right? But I feel like if that was their reasoning to make Kagami seem like he didn't fit in Japan, that was middle school, though, right? So it feels weird showing a clip of him not fitting in Japan, and then we cut to the present time with Seirin. We know he's developed that fitting in with them. So I'm like, wait, what? You overlooked all 75 episodes to show this one scene and justifying it with that? No, I don't think so. So they all get together to watch the street ball game, right? To watch the street ball match. Gold and silver. Y'all, the moment we heard silver being his one name, I was like, wouldn't it be funny if the one guy was gold? And then he is! And then he is! And I'm like, oh my god, are you kidding me? No! And we don't even get, okay, that was the other thing. Okay, for the record though, I love gold and silver. Gold and silver are great characters. They're a lot of fun for being a movie, and I'm going to write in a marker that is slightly darker so y'all can see that. Maybe possibly gold and silver. Let me get on here. Can you see that better? Yeah, I think so. I'm going to put love here. Love. Yeah, gold and silver, I love them. They are great characters for being just in a movie. They are perfect movie villains. They fulfill their roles very well in what they need to do. But what I kind of was like bummed about is that we don't get any more of the other players, and I'm just gonna call them bronze and copper and nickel. We're just gonna call them the other players because they have no character development whatsoever. They get nothing. They have no character development. They don't even have speaking roles. I even after I got done with this reaction, I went on the Wikipedia thing to try to see if they had character names. I'm like, maybe they have character names. No, they don't! There's no character names for them! I was like, what? So maybe in the manga they get character names and a little bit more to them. I guess we'll find out, but I was like, no way! Like, nothing at all? I felt like it was I was quoting Dodgeball in the reaction. He was like, I've got blade, laser, blazer. And then Silver is like the deadliest woman with a dodgeball. I was just kind of baffled that they didn't get any character development at all, which is so weird to me. But I guess we didn't have time. I guess we didn't have time to develop their characters. And we'll talk about old Nash Gold Jr. and his comparisons to Akashi. That part was really fun. Y'all, at this point, Kagetora, he's a Yakuza, right? Can we all just agree on that? I like Kagetora. Let me put this back and reuse the. I like Tora as the coach. I really liked that part. I liked him as the coach. He is also basically Yakuza. No question about it. Where he gets this cash, all this money and stuff, and the fact that he's dressing just like my headcanon is that Nash Gold Jr.'s his father's in the mafia. They have ties together. That's how they got hooked up with this whole street ball thing to begin with. It was so fun, and I was like, oh, come on. It was great, right? But Jabberwock. I also love that they're called Jabberwock, okay? Just the idea of of the swords slaying the Jabberwock. Alice in Wonderland is one of my favorite stories, so I love Lewis Carroll, and so the fact that we got like a whole rival team called Slaying the Jabberwocky, fun times, right? They're kind of like, it thematically goes along with it with the fairy tale-esque attitude of the audio dramas for Kuroko's, so that was a lot of fun. In this amazing street ball basketball team, the exhibition match, which, is sponsored by Kagetora and his Yakuza organization, right? I love Kagami in the black tank top. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, Kagetora is their guide. He just happens to get them to come play there. Sure thing. And he's just, sitting there with his gold chain and his underground street ball ring that he's running. Right? Because of that, Hyuga and the coach got tickets. They're watching it live. Sure. It's a freaking date, y'all. And Izuki is supporting! Izuki is shipping! I love this. I love Izuki's like, oh, I hope they're doing well. And then I love Kugani's like, go for it, Hyuga. Yes! I'm like, Kugani is like, go for it, Hyuga. Do it. He's like, make the clutch shot on her heart! Yes! I love that they're all rooting for him. Like, Hyuga, he's like, oh. And then he sneezes and she's like, are you okay? It's like, he needs all the help he can get, right? So another thing that I love is all of the basically Riko and Hyuga ship confirmations that are being put up here. Ships, everybody ships it. Hyuga and Riko together. People are shipping it. I freaking love it. I'm all about it. It just makes me so happy. So then we have Team Starkey. What is even happening, y'all? What is this? the Japanese team, Team Starkey. I was getting like Stark vibes from not only Bleach but also Game of Thrones. Team Starkey. And so we have Imayoshi. We have the one guy from Imayoshi who's from Aomine's team. We have the one guy that's from Yosen who helps Murasaki Bar later. We have Kasamatsu. And then we have, like, is Hamuro there? I don't feel like that's Hamuro. Who is that? And then is that Mayuzumi? What? Like, okay, there they are. I want to get who all this is. So yeah, obviously Kasamatsu senpai. Can we just say the animation of Kisei's animation? Kisei's look 70% of the film. They animate him really weird. I don't know why. The only thing I can think of is because Nash looks kind of similar to Kisei, and so they were trying to make Kisei look different. He looks weird throughout most of the movie, and I can't place it. Like 30% of the time, he looks great, but 70% of the time, it either doesn't look like Kisei or it looks odd. I don't understand it. I'm like, IG, explain. What is happening? I'm like, oh yeah. And so then obviously Imayoshi-san cut his hair. Yeah, a lot of players cut their hair, right? Imayoshi's, I'm fine with it. But Mabuchi's haircut is a travesty. His beautiful locks are gone. And I'm like, why did you do that, movie? No one asked for that. No one requested that Mabuchi get a haircut. Why did you feel the need? Why? But yeah, so Imayoshi cut his hair. And then I love Takao being like, it's really them. So is it Miyaji that's one of them? Midorima with the cactus is hilarious, where he's just standing there holding it. Freaking hilarious. We'll talk about Takao later on. I feel you, man. Your brother. Okay, so it is Miyaji. Yeah, he's like, look, your brother's playing. So it is Miyaji. Okay, yep. And then they're all laughing at his Gorilla Chin's hair, like he cut his hair. I love that they're all laughing from Yosen. It's kind of funny. And Higu-san. So yeah, okay, so Higuchi's playing. Okay. Oh, wait, yeah, Higuchi's playing. And their Sei-chan is starting. Okay. So, yeah. And then they all play against the team, the Jabberwock. And just, like, everybody's getting mad that they're just, looking down on the Japanese team. Like, I love... The moment that we saw them all come together, I was like, wait a minute. Is this whole thing gonna be... Is it going to be like a dream team? Is it going to be the Generation of Miracles plus Kagami and Kuroko, who are technically also Generation of Miracles, playing against these guys? And it was. I love the premise. The premise of the movie is great. Premise of the movie I absolutely love, right? Because here's the thing, like, if you have a movie for Kuroko's basketball, what else can you do? You finished nationals, so, like, the next goal is you take on the world, right? So how do you do that? And having it be street ball, having it be something fun that Kagatora is sponsoring, the stakes are there, but it's not like, it's fun, right? And it's not like so doom and gloom that you're like, oh, the stakes are very movie-based, which I like. And granted, they set them up very well. The idea that Aomine and them, which the kind of funny hypocrisy of it all, which is hilarious to me, is that the Generation of Miracles get so worked up. They're like, they're playing games with them. How dare they? And the funny part of it is that it's like you guys when you were on Teiko were doing the same thing. Right? You were doing the same thing when you were on Teiko, but now you've learned the errors of your ways and have learned that that's not how you play basketball. That's not good. So now they're kind of mad that that these guys, this American team needs to learn the power of the Nakama that we've learned. That's kind of what it is, right? It was hilarious to me in the moment that I was like, you guys are getting so mad, but you guys did the same thing. But it's fine. You've all learned how that was a bad thing to do, so we've all learned the errors of our ways. The part that I think kind of cements it, 86-6 was like, oof, woof. The part that got me, and what I think cements the idea of them being the bad guys and sets the stakes for the entire movie, is the fact that he spits on Kasamatsu's hand. Because it's like, it's one thing to like be arrogant, but that's like crossing a line, because Kasamatsu is like the embodiment to me of being like that really great captain that's like, hey, you beat us, fair game though. Like Kasamatsu is like the epitome of being an equal fair player that is not a sore loser, that's just like, let's do it, man. and to spit on his hand of all people, it's like you crossed a line. So I kind of like that. I like that the stakes are there and they have a real anchor to them, right? Because that's very insulting, right? But man, what I hate about it is that I really love the way that Nash is animated. Like I'm a sucker for a blonde hair with blue or green eyes, and the moment he comes on the scene, I'm like, oh no, he's hot. I can't help it. Nash is really hot. He has that like kind of bad boy attitude. I'm a sucker for it. A hardcore sucker. But everybody, I guess monkeys being the comment. The whole thing with monkeys, I'm going to put it under meh because the monkeys insult, it's very, it is bad. It's very bad. Like what can you say that's kind of like an insult that's not too harsh? Right? But the whole time I was hearing it, all I could remember is Frieza in Dragon Ball Z always called the Saiyans monkeys as an insult. And I was just like, the whole time Nash was doing it, I was just waiting for filthy monkeys. Like just waiting for something to come out of that. But yeah, everybody getting upset at old Nash. Nash feels like a Free character. He feels like a villain from Free that needs to learn the power of the Nakama. I love him as a character for it. It's great. And then Kagetora is just like, about to cut his stomach open and like get all Yakuza on this. And he's like, all right. Again, nothing that Kagetora does not convince me that he's not Yakuza. Absolutely. And then, yeah, he builds the dream team together. And I love that Midorima has the teapot. Like, what? Why? I do love... Always, Murasaki Bara comes out with the best fashion. Like the purple shorts and the shirt that says Kuma on it with the bear. I feel like Teppei should have that outfit, but I love it. I love Midorima's just have the teapot. Why not? And then Kagetora's like, we got everybody together. Every damn time, Kuroko and Kagami showed up late from somewhere. It's like, you guys have just been making out in the hallway this whole time, right? It does not help my shipping at all. Doesn't help it. What does surprise me out of all this are the subs. And I'm going to put them down under my leave it. Not necessarily the choice, the subs and their non-involvement. Yeah. I mean, aside from Hyuga, who's kind of there to be with Rico during part of this, they're like, they did nothing. Like, Takao was just there. Takao had a moment. We'll talk about it with Midorima and Akashi. I love that moment. Takao had a moment. Hyuga had some moments with Rico. Why the hell is Wakamatsu even there? Why was he there other than the voice actor, apparently? I was like, he did nothing. I don't think Wakamatsu contributed at all to this movie whatsoever. I was convinced that when Murasaki Bara got his arm broke, or even earlier on when he got hit in the face and was bleeding, I was like, okay, the show is going to use this as an opportunity for Wakamatsu to come in, and maybe we'll get something with his character and working with Aomine, because he's the captain now. Maybe we'll get something with that, and we'll flash back to Imayoshi, who was the previous captain and was in Team Starkey, and we'll have like something with that. But we do nothing with Wakamatsu's character, so it's kind of weird that he's just there. Like, they just needed him to be there and not utilize him. So I'm not sure the reasoning, because I thought they would bring in Himuro. Himuro knows street ball. He played street ball with Kagami. I'm like, the logical choice would be to bring in Himuro with Takao and Hyuga, and then maybe sub in Himuro and have him help out. But I'm like, because he's no better than Wakamatsu, so that was so confusing to me. And it was kind of like a blue balls effect where you kept thinking like, oh, they're gonna have him come in and do something. But then he doesn't. So it's just like, what? Why did we have them participate? It's very weird. And yeah, Hyuga being like, should I even be here? It's like, well, I guess not, because you guys, they didn't need a sub for you all the entire time. I guess they just need some players there for backup, just, in case, whatever. But I do love the idea of them all standing there, the Kuma shirt. But yeah, it's the animation at some points, I'm just going to kind of put this up here with Kisei, in that the animation, I'm not gonna lie, the animation was okay. It was fine. There were moments with Nash, of all things, where he looked really, really good. Nash got some amazing animation in this. Amazing. And I will say the rotoscope that they use throughout, I did like I'm gonna put like the rotoscope movement in the animation. I was kind of torn because I did like the rotoscope stuff, like some of the things with the movement of the ball and some of the motions, they were so fluid, they were so really well done. But the animation on the faces of the characters at times, like this group shot, Kisei and Aomine look very similar, which they don't look similar at all in the anime, right? It at times the animation with the characters seems similar, like Midoriya's hair seems flat. Murasaki Bara's hair doesn't have the movement to it that it normally does. Kisei and Aomine have carbon copy haircuts, so they just dyed it different colors. It's weird. For a movie, you expect the movie to like go above and beyond in all of the animation, and it gets a little lackluster at times. So I was like, okay. But it's not anything bad. I was just really being hyped for the movie, like elevating it like each season of Kuroko's Basketball, the animation gets elevated. And I thought the movie would be like pushing it to the brink, pushing it over the top. And it didn't. I liked the rotoscope stuff. That movement was very fluid. It was neat. But the animation didn't quite live up to my expectations. But that's fine. But I do love that we get them practicing, working as a team together. Hyuga's telling her about the team. And then apparently they're causing trouble in Roppongi. Why not? And then Kagetora's like spending all this money on them. Again, he's sending some people to sleep with the fishes to pay for all of this. I do love like that we get Kagami working with all of them. That's so much fun. That's so great. And then, again, like little things with Nash's character. Like we have, like, he has the necklace, everything, all the chains. Looks like Yakuza. I love that Kuroko, of course, had to butt in and, like, talk to all these guys and be like, hey, you're making a mess and causing a scene and not eating your food. Like, it was really cool to see Kuroko be the one to like say like, hey, it's one thing to, you know, insult us, but don't say that they can't play basketball just because they're not as good as you. I'm like, that's right, Kuroko, you get in there. And Silver's character was very dynamic right off the bat, as was Nash. Again, he looks like a free character. I'm not complaining at all. I wish KyoAni did the animation for this. And I love that everyone runs after to go save Kuroko from this group of delinquent Americans. I love that Kagami's outfit's great. I love the plaid on Kagami with the black shirt. Murasaki Bara's outfit looks great. Kisei has like a little pastel hoodie. Aomine's wearing whatever you expect him to. Midoriyama looks like a damn accountant. Which is fine. Fits his character, but I'm like, it's just not threatening, right? And then Akashi looks like he could just join the Yakuza right now. It's great. I really love it. And then, of course, nobody's surprised Kuroko went there and just tried to, like, butt in and get up with Nash, right? And then what got me, though, is, like, I love the shot of Nash, like, I'm going to take a picture of him, like, getting all up in Kuroko's face, because I was like, I was expecting them to, like, show up, and then Nash was going to be all, like, holding Kuroko by the neck, and they'd be like, how dare you? But he actually kicked him. I was like, oh, holy shit. Like, he actually got violent. And then they were all like, oh, hey, guys. And of course, who's the one to, like, come to Kuroko's rescue at the same time? Who's the one to do it but Aomine? Like, Kagami and Aomine were throwing fists, like, right off the bat. Like, they were instantly there, ready to go. And Kisei's, like, holding him in his arms. I freaking love it. I just, like, it's so great. They came to the club to rescue him. It's so wonderful. And then they're, like, fighting to be pointless. I will say, I know that Akashi was trying to be badass by speaking in English to them, but as an English speaker, it was like, it was okay. It was all right. I'm like, you gotta really nail it to be badass, and it was okay. The biggest WTF in all of this, which I absolutely love, I guess I'm gonna put it in meh, because I'm like, the fudge with Vorpal swords. It's so ridiculous, right? I kind of love it. I mean, it's so ridiculous and cheesy that you're like, just go with it. It's great. But what kills me is, like, we don't really know how much time passed between the confrontation and when this match was scheduled and when it actually happens, because they had jerseys made, they had towels that were specially designed, they had like logos and graphics. I'm like, how did you get all this done in like a day? It had to have been like a week setup, right? Which maybe is why Kagetora was like, they're running me out of house and home and all my money because it's taking too much time to put all this together. But man, everybody is there. Everybody in through the looking glass. They are Vorpal swords. How did they introduce that? Yeah, they introduced them as being, as they all leave with Kuroko. God, it's great. It's so good. A dream team of high school students has been formed, right? Yep, and getting everybody all together. Named for the sword used to defeat the Jabberwock. So the Vorpal sword, yeah. It's just, I know it's thematic. I know it goes to Alice in Wonderland. I know it has a reason behind it. It's really fun. But Vorpal swords is just such a cheesy name. I love it. I can't get over it. So, I do love all of them together. And they don't make this game easy, right? I love that we get to see these characters that we got a little preview of it in the OVA, but seeing Kagami work with them, seeing them all work together, seeing Kagetora be their coach, it's so like, it feels like a fever dream. It feels like something you wouldn't expect to happen, but I really like it. I like them all working together. It's really good, right? And seeing, you know, Murasaki Bara and all of them work together and like that they're holding back, it's really good. They're like, can we get in the zone? What was kind of funny is that we never really saw, there was no Wi-Fi or true zone, right? I feel like I was like, no Wi-Fi or true zone, because what I was kind of expecting was they hinted at the Wi-Fi and said they wouldn't be able to use it until the very end, but then they don't use it at all, right? Because Murasaki Bara gets hurt. But then I was like, with the true zone, I really kind of wanted it to happen. I know that the true zone thematically should maybe only make sense if it's Seirin because they have that perfect bond, right? But I was actually wondering if it would happen in this so that Aomine could experience what it would be like to be, because he actually does pass it to Kuroko. He passes the ball to Kuroko against all odds. Kuroko makes fun of him saying it was a terrible pass, and he was like, well, I'm not used to passing people. But yeah, he actually did that. So some growth for Aomine. That was really good, right? And then, of course, they noticed that Murasaki Bara isn't acting like himself. And they build it up to be this, like, bad thing. And you think, oh, what's wrong with Murasaki Bara? But it's not. Murasaki Bara gets some crazy character development, which is awesome. And when we get to it, I'll put it up on Whiteboard Coon. But yeah, so Silver, Jason Silver, I was like, I really like Silver's character. He's very fun. He's a threat because he's so huge. Him and Gold, Silver and Gold they're just a duo, right? Neither of them are each other's keepers, it seems. So that's very curious. But he very much is like this threatening over the top. I like Silver and Gold because they are assholes. Yes, 100%. But it's what they're meant to be, right? I think we'll talk about Gold in relation to Akashi when we get to it. But I like that they serve a purpose in the story. They are meant to be antagonistic, and they are. They are antagonistic. They don't try to be anything else. They are a threat to our boys. And then, yeah, Murasaki Bara keeps eating the lemons. He's getting all worked up and getting excited. And it's made to be something where we, the audience, are supposed to think that it's a bad thing. Like, oh, something bad's going to happen to Murasaki Bara. Is he going to, like, quit? What's going to happen? And so they end up taking Midorima and Akashi out, which is an interesting choice. And he says that we're doing it to sub in Kagami to strengthen the inside to help Murasaki Bara. And Kisei can move the ball around in Akashi's place. Because, I mean, if anybody's going to replace Akashi, Kisei's a likely choice because he has the copy move. He can kind of copy Akashi a little bit. Makes sense. And then Kagami, Midorima's big strength is on the outside. He's strong as a shooter. He's not strong on the inside. So Kagami makes more sense to assist Murasaki Bara. And I really liked, one thing that I really liked was the Akashi and Murasaki Bara dynamic. I thought that was great. This movie was out to shit the hell out of Akashi and Murasaki Bara, because if you'll notice, Himuro, that's why they kept Himuro off the bench. That's why they didn't let Himuro in as a sub, because they wanted to build up this Akashi Murasaki Bara ship. That's why they kept him out. I actually really liked Murasaki Bara and Akashi's interactions in this. I liked the idea because it's always been established throughout the series and it's been consistent that Murasaki Bara listens to Akashi and takes him very seriously because of what's happened previously, right? He views Akashi as someone that is his equal, right? And so I like that he tells him, he's like, he's like, remember, the last 3 seasons, how we all were working individually and how we all lost because of that. So now we've learned our lesson and should be a team. Let's do that. And so I like that that's how he reaches Murasaki Bara, being like, look, we've all lost trying to do the individualistic route. Put your pride aside and work with Kagami and the others so we can win, right? Because that's what we want to do, right? We want to win. Didn't you say that you only like playing when you win? Well, here's your chance to do that. And so I like Murasaki Bara's like, fine, we'll go with this. We'll do it. And that's when he's like, I don't like working with Kagami, but I guess I will, right? And I love Aomine. Again, the dynamic with Aomine and Kagami. I'm going to put Kisei on here as well. The OT, our primary colors OT3 of Kagami, Kisei, and Aomine. They worked great together throughout this. I love the dual zones at the same time between Kagami and Aomine. The dual zones. Kisei got in the zone. What the hell? I just put him here. Kisei in the zone. Kisei in the zone. We didn't see Midorima in the zone, which was sad. But Kisei got in the zone. And it was OP for a bit. Again, I don't blame the mangaka because when you have an OP character like Kisei who can literally copy anybody, it's like, what do we do? And so it narratively makes sense that it's like, okay, we're going to let Kisei get in the zone for a hot second. And then we're going to take him out because his body literally cannot handle being in the zone for that long. But I am glad that he got to it. That was cute. That was fun. It was a good time. And then Nash is like him. I do love that Nash figures that he's always, and that's been consistent in the movie too. He saw Kuroko at the beginning at the club, so it makes sense they noticed him on the court. I liked that a lot. I liked that impression there. And Silver gets all worked up. Again, Takao and Kasamatsu are rocking out them red shirts, but they literally have nothing to do. And so then Silver's like, give me the ball. There are moments where the animation on Silver and Nash is so freaking good. And there's moments where the animation on the Generation of Miracles and our guys are really good too. And then there's moments where it's kind of weird. So I wish it was a little more consistent. But yeah, I love Murasaki Bara being like, I hate working with Kagami. It's so cute. And Kagami's like, excuse me, like, I'm right here. I'm right here and I can hear you. I love his face where he's like, hi, can you just like work with me and not be such a prick? But yeah, it's really cute. And then, yeah, them all working. I love the idea that Aomine throws to Kuroko. It's so good. And Kuroko's like, that pass sucked. he's like, shut up. And then poor Kisei's like, I had this really cool dunk. Are you guys gonna like compliment me about it? I felt for Kisei because yeah, it's like I felt for him. I was like, oh man, Kisei, he had a really cool moment. And the whole time I thought his dunk was gonna get like stopped by somebody because I was like, they're not gonna let Kisei have a really badass moment, are they? And they did, and nobody noticed it. It was a nice fourth wall breaking. It was great. And then, man, the thing about Nash is that he is quite intimidating. I like his character a lot. And he gets him to shut up. And he's like, I'll clear a path for you. And they just make him look so badass, right? And the thing about it is, I will say this, and we'll talk about Akashi versus him later because they have a lot of similarities. What I like about Nash's character is that he is an antagonist, and the show is not trying to make you feel sympathetic for him. They have like a little moment. They have a little moment. It's very small. But they're not trying to be like, oh, he's actually a good guy. He's just misunderstood. They're not trying to do that. They're like, no, he's a bad guy. He's an antagonist. He's a guy. It's fine. He's a teenager. They're all still high school kids. It's fine. But he's an unapologetic asshole, and we need to stop him. That's a very distinct character. Just get that in there. Just have it there. There's no trying to do this last minute sympathy for his character. He is what he is. And I like that. I like that he embraces it, right? The Belial eye. That means like demonic. That's like isn't that like a Christian symbol of like the devil is the Belial eye? Like he's literally a demon. It's great. It's great. I love it. And so he's able to calm them down. They're more intense when they're angry. That should have been foreshadowing that he was like Akashi, because he does very similar things that Akashi does. And it's like, okay. But he's just like, I don't know. It just, it's interesting. They're about to go all out. And the battle's going to start now. Nash Gold Jr. The moment we got that, I was like, what the fudge? And see, here's the thing. The one thing I really like too is the connection between Akashi and Nash, aka Gold. I love the parallels they draw without having to tell us anything, because one, you have Gold, which is the most regal of the elements of the colors, which should have been a tie to Akashi. Makes sense. Belial, you have Demon Eye, Emperor Eye, but the Junior part of that, we get like a little flashback of him at one point before he activates the Belial eye, where it's like he's Nash Jr., meaning his dad specifically chose him as to have the name as a successor. So there's a tie there that Nash has the same type of pressure on him to be the way that he is, like Akashi does, right? There's just like little tiny things the show does, and I'm like, okay, you're making these comparisons. That's fun. That's a good time. And again, they draw him a lot like Kisei there too. So I think that's why they made Kisei look a little different. But he's able to pass so fluidly. He's a wild beast, right? And what they do with the T-Rex, yeah, I feel like it's the same type of animation with the cats, with Kagami and Aomine and Furihata or Kogani and everything. It's the same thing, only he's a T-Rex that time instead of like an actual cat. That is a good shot. There's a few good shots of Murasaki with the hair. Again, the animation's not quite consistent, but it is, when it's good, it's good. Furihata the whole time. Furihata is like praying the entire game. Like, bless him. Bless our boy Furihata. And Sakurai in his vest was great with his little black vest. So, Kuroko subs out for Akashi, and saying that there is a way we have to prevent them from widening their attacks. So, like, we're going to basically, like, double team. We're going to have Kisei and Aomine forcibly, like, get into the zone, auto zone together. It's great. The perfect copy. And then Aomine gets in the zone, which is fun. It's really good. They're double teaming them. Everybody's all excited. I like Kogane and Matobe are standing next to each other, which is a lot of fun. I'm not happy with Midorima's hair throughout all of this. It's very flat. I don't know how else to do it. One thing that I really liked too was Momoe. Momoe and Rico together. They share like a hug at the end. It was really cute. But something I feel is that Momoe, kind of like the subs, Momoe has nothing to do. She's just there with Rico, and since Kagetora is like coaching, they don't really have much to do. I would have liked a little bit more of Momoe and maybe Rico talking with one another and strategizing and like telling Kagetora, be like, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? Like, that would have been kind of cool. I feel like you could have had less audience reactions. We know that the first and second years from Seirin are there. We know Sakurai and the others are there. We could have had less of that and more stuff with, I think, Momoe and Rico and other different areas to make up for it. That would have been, I think, better for the movie as a whole. But I do like Momoe gets sentimental when she sees Kisei and Aomine running next to each other, and it reminds her of Teiko days. I do like that little sentiment. It's fun. And then Kuroko's just kind of like soft around her and being like, oh yeah, you can do it, Aomine and Kisei-kun, sure. I was like, damn it, movie, do not... I feel like there was like a cute little... If you ship Momoe and Kuroko together, there was a cute little moment there. I don't really ship Kuroko and Momoe together, but if you do, I'm not going to judge you. But yeah, Silver's out there just, fighting them off 2-2. And then again, we have Nash versus Akashi. And he's like talking about getting the ball there. And so they both realize they're running on empty, and Kisei decides he's going to sacrifice himself to save Aomine's, to save his strength, right? And so we show Kisei like going up to dunk the ball, and then we cut back to Kasamatsu. I'm loving this, the Kisei and Kasamatsu shipping, loving it to pieces. And I like when he's talking to him on the phone. We have all of them standing next to each other. Again, if you look on this, Murray Sakibara is just hanging out. Kuroko's talking with Almine and Akashi, and Kagami and Midorima are having a little moment. I liked seeing Kagami and Midorima on the court together. That was a lot of fun. I like basically the GOM members interacting with Kagami. That was really cool. It's something I kind of always wanted to see in the series, and we finally get it. I didn't think it was ever going to happen, so that's a lot of fun. I was expecting maybe we'd do like a scrimmage game. I didn't know going into this what we were going to get, but this was really great. But Kasamatsu looks really damn good in that striped shirt, by the way. Looking like a tall glass of water. I love it. And saying like I says he's like, when I made fun of everything, including the ball that we played together. I'm like, damn straight. It's like the other guy said the same thing. So I heard you're having a rematch. Do this for me. When I was like, damn it, I love it. He's like, do it for me, Kisei. The shipping. I'm like, yes, please. Thank you, please. Not to avenge me, but to prove the worth of the ball that we played. I was like, Kasamatsu from off screen giving him the motivation to go in the zone. Hell yes. Kisei getting in the zone because of Kasamatsu. If that's not love, damn it, I don't know what is. I freaking love it. I love that he got in the zone for Kasamatsu. Makes me so happy. And they're like, a zone plus a perfect copy. This seems like it's OP. And you're like, you are absolutely right, sir. It very much is OP. And I love that Kagami's so excited that he's in the zone. He's like so happy. I'm like, yes, hello. It's great. God, it's great. It's great until he can't do it anymore, and then it's kind of sad because he used up all his strength, right? But that's when he gets taken out, unfortunately. I do like Akashi helping him off the court. That was really sweet of Akashi. It was really good. I liked that. But then Nash reveals, and then, okay, what the fudge? Miyazumi? Why were you there? Why were you there just randomly? He did nothing. Miyazumi did nothing except watch Akashi have his like moment of inner conflict. I was like, what? I could have understood if Miyazumi was there to cheer Akashi on and to maybe like shout some words of encouragement, but he doesn't do jack shit. I'm like, why were you even there? You were just there to make a cameo. That was it. And so, okay. We talk about Akashi talking with his inner self. Can we go back to that? Okay. Okay. Can we talk about this? Okay, we're going to talk about Akashi's Emperor Eye. I thought that Akashi could use his Emperor Eye without going into bad Akashi. I thought that was just, he went into bad Akashi because of the stress, and my thought was in the anime that the Emperor Eye was activated when evil Akashi took over, and that it was using that ability because he wanted to win so badly, and evil Akashi maintained control over Akashi as a whole because they wanted to win so badly, and he knew that was the only way it could work. But I thought that the Emperor Eye would be something that even good Akashi could access without having to tap into that. And by the end of it, And it almost seems like the mangaka wrote himself out of a corner, because it seems like the mangaka was like, oh shit, I've made it to where only when he's in bad Akashi mode can he use this superpower. It goes back to Chelsea's comment I was talking about before we even started the movie, where Chelsea's like, yeah, you took something that was technically a mental illness and you made it a superpower, only it was bad. And I was like, that's exactly right. That was my problem with it in the series. And here, it's like the mangaka has realized that and was like, oh shit, that's kind of what I did. Yee. So instead, what if it wasn't a mental illness? What if he was never two personalities at all? What if he's been one guy the whole time? What if we rectify this? What if we retcon this and he goes back to just having one personality? What if we just did that? What if we pulled a Mob Psycho and just did that? And I was like, you don't say. Because here's the thing. Here is the thing. He says in bad Akashi mode, he says, are you sure you want to access my power? I didn't work well with your team before. It could throw us off balance. And here's me sitting there thinking, wow, all those comments were like, oh no, they had good teamwork back when he was evil Akashi. That's not what evil Akashi's saying. You know? I was like, no, he's saying that like it could throw your team off balance. And then good Akashi says, you know, go Vorpal Swords. They're closing the gap. Calling them Vorpal Swords is so silly. But he's like, no, it's okay. They've changed. We don't think of each other as enemies anymore. So meaning that you were all enemies when you were on your own team and otherwise. It's like, they've forgiven me. Don't worry. I didn't apologize to them, but they forgave me. And neither do you. You don't think of us as enemies. And so he's like, fine, I'll fight too for the team's victory. And they separate themselves. But my thing was, because he does the whole thing where he calls him Shintaro instead of Midorima, and they're like, oh, it's other Akashi. He's back, but he's not evil this time because he's lost us, so everything's fine. But then he, like, by the end, they say that the Emperor was incomplete because they weren't one with each other. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, so basically the mangaka saying, well, it's not that he has a split personality disorder. He was just, you know, splitting himself into two personas, but he's really just the same person, and there wasn't really anything. I feel like it does more disservice to the argument than help, because now by the end of it, it's like, oh no, they're just one person. It's fine. And I'm sure that someone in the comments is going to give a very long, you know, DSM definition of DID and everything and how they are just one person and stuff. But I'm just like, hear me out. I don't think the mangaka considers Akashi to have an actual mental illness. I don't. I think he just narratively chose to make him split personalities and make it a plot point. I don't think he took the time and consideration to really research it as a mental disorder. I think that is a fan subtext that has been applied and made context by the fandom. I really do. I'm not saying that Akashi doesn't have a mental disorder, and a lot of people said in the comments that that's what they thought that I was saying. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that as the narrative presents itself, I don't think that the show thinks he has a mental disorder. I think, because by the end, they're just like, oh no, we're back working together. And Mob Psycho spoilers for a hot second. Mob Psycho 100 spoilers from season 3. If you've not seen season 3 of Mob Psycho, ignore this next part unless you don't care about being spoiled. But just until I stop waving my hand, ignore this. But in Mob Psycho 100, the same thing happens, where Mob was afraid to use his psychic powers, so he separated himself into two parts. And it's kind of the reversal of Akashi, where the good Mob takes over, and the bad Mob is hidden with his powers deep within. And by the end of season 3, they come to a turmoil where the two of them come together, and Mob realizes, no, we've never been two separate beings. We've always been the same person. There is no split personality. It's just me not wanting to acknowledge this side of myself that I've always had within me. And they rectify it, and it's like, no, there was never a split personality. It was just you understanding that we all have within us a part of us that we don't want to acknowledge. And a big theme in Mob Psycho is understanding that we can all be multi-layered, complex people, but that doesn't mean we have a disability about it, right? And that's just how we are. So, end of Mob Psycho spoilers. But my point here is that I feel like the show that we just got done accepting that maybe Akashi had a split personality, and the show almost seems to retcon that, being like, well, actually we don't, we're just Akashi. He can use Emperor and there is no split personality. So I'm not mad at Akashi the character. It's more the mangaka being like, I don't think the mangaka did research into DID or anything like that. And so they just made him have two personalities as a plot thing. And that's a trope that I don't really care for, because it seems like a disservice to people who legitimately have that disorder. So it's just, I was like, why? I was just like, why? Why are we going back to this? Dude. And then we have the idea that Nash has the same thing. He figures out that Akashi has the eyes, and he's like, oh, you do too, right? And he's like, it's been so long, I got ahead of myself, right? It's just like, okay. He's just not as much of an asshole in this moment, right? But then Nash is like, yeah, I have the same thing that you do. I do like the movements and the gameplay that Akashi has with Kagami. I really like that. I think that was a really nice animation visually. And I do love when Midorima, when Akashi, takes over making all the calls and everything. And he gets to Midorima and he's like, we'll take a gamble and risk it all in threes. And I love Midorima's like, we're not taking a gamble. I prepared for today. I brought my lucky item. The remote in the chair. The moment they did the close-up of the remote in the chair, I lost my mind. Because it was so, in the moment, it was just like da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. And there's the remote. I lost it. I was like, that is the funniest damn thing I've seen in so long. It's so good. But here's the thing. Midorima's figured out what he has to do with Akashi. You would think I'd hate this moment. You would think I'd hate it. And a part of me is like, damn. But the Takao and Midorima, and the Akashi X moment. Right? In the Akashi X moment. Because here's the thing, y'all. I'm a huge Takao and Midorima shipper. And I do feel like Midorima and Akashi were exes. Like they had a thing back in middle school and now it's over. You know, the moment that Akashi didn't shake his hand, it was kind of like cementing that now we're over. Because in the end, Midorima in the stands during the last couple sets of episodes, he was rooting for Akashi. He's like, beat Akashi, beat him. I was like, yeah, go Midorima, get yourself. And so I felt for Takao where he's like, Midorima knows he has to use the same move. Akashi's gonna get him the move that we did together. And at first, I felt for Takao because I'm like, man, it's like watching your boyfriend play with your ex, and the ex is using your moves, and you're just like, damn, he's like, well, they do make a good team, you know? He's like, I think that we do it better, but you can't deny that they make a good team, right? What I love about it is that Takao's the better man. And he's like, I know that Midorima has to use this move. And he's just like, I felt conflicted, but I feel better than I expected. And I love the way that he says this. It puts a smile on my face. I won't say it's better than ours, but the two of them do make a good team. Mm-hmm. And what I love about this is like, it's Takao saying like, I'm going to be the better guy. I know you guys play good together, but there's only one of us that's taken Midorima home at the end of the night. And it's me, bitch! So I was like, yes, Takao. I love Takao. I was like, I hate they're using my move. I hate that's happening. But we all know who's ending up with who at the end of this, so it's fine. I was like, get it, Takao. Get it, boy. I was like, yes. But then Nash, behind the back crossover. And then he activates. He has his own eyes. The Belial eyes. Yes. Oh my God. And it's just like, he sees them do the shot. Yep. Oh my gosh. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I shouldn't like him moving past Akashi as much as I do. I shouldn't. I should be nice. But then him saying that your eye can see only one person. It's so hacks. He's like, I can see everyone at all. I can see more future than you can future. And it's like, it's just so dumb. That it's humorous. They're on equal footing. I love the shots between the two of them. They just make him look so good. They make Nash look so good. I know some people find Akashi really hot. I personally don't. I love Akashi's voice actor to pieces. I don't find Akashi necessarily attractive, but he makes some great faces in this moment. And I love that shot of him coming out with the hand is speaking of Mob Psycho, some Mob Psycho animation right there. Like, what the fudge? That was insane. I loved that shot of him coming up. I was like, damn, Nash. And I love that Kisei's like, don't give up. He's like being MVP support anyway. It's great. He's like, you can't call that outsmarting me. And then he's like, we both have the eyes, but I passed you while you failed to pass me. The answer is simple. And then I shouldn't feel bad. I feel bad for being like this. But is it bad that I was like, I feel like I got my karma. I got what I wanted. Seeing Akashi have the ankle break put on him, I felt like at that moment I was like, okay, all right, Romania, you've been given your just reward. You didn't like Akashi's character. You wanted him to have some comeuppance. I feel like him getting ankle broke by his own ability that someone else has. I feel like that was the cleansing that I needed. That was me going, okay, Akashi, you got what was coming to you, and now I can feel for you. Now I can feel for your character, because that did suck. That did suck. I was like, that sucked a lot. It really did. And it led to one of the better moments of the entire movie, which that moment of Nash like doing the ankle break against Akashi, and Akashi being like kind of worn down and like, oh man, Murasaki Bara being the one to help him up, saying this isn't like you. Like, there was a really sweet moment there. Like, Murasaki Bara, like, I felt like this movie was trying so hard to ship the two of them, right? Because you had to cow with Midorima being like, yeah, Akashi's helping you out, that's great, but we know how this is gonna end, right? I felt like they kept Mayuzumi on the sidelines and Hamuro in the stands because they wanted to ship this Akashi and Murasaki Bara moment. They wanted to ship that hardcore, y'all. Because, like, that was such a sweet moment where Murasaki Bara's like, you know, I got this. I'm going to step in. I'm going to help you, man. And the development. We finally got character development with Murasaki Bara. And it was great. I freaking loved that, right? I was all about it. I was like, hell yeah, getting this Murasaki Bara development. Like, him realizing that this whole time, like when he came and asked for the ponytail, I was like, I gotta put my hair up. I was like, hell yeah, put your hair up, Murasaki Bara. I like that Riko's like, well, I mean, I got a holder, but I don't have it on my hair. My hair's short again. I love the idea. It had never occurred to me that Murasaki Bara may have been holding back because he was afraid to hurt people. Like, that never occurred to me, and I was like, whoa, okay. Because he's always kind of been this big guy who seems like he's been uncomfortable in the body that he was in. But it never occurred to me that the reason why he was holding back was because he didn't want to hurt people. And I was like, that's actually really cool. And I love that he's able to go all out, kind of like, because him and Amine are very similar. They're so talented, but they have no competition. And the idea that he's been holding back against Teppei because Teppei's had an injury, that suddenly hits. And so the idea that he can go all out against Silver because it's somebody he can compete against, and he's getting excited, and Murasaki Bara smiling was like the creepiest thing for a little while. I was like, whoa, we're not used to seeing this. This is different and weird, but it ended up being so cool. I love he's kind of like Akashi's knight in shining armor. So now I'm like, I ship Akashi with Furihara, I ship him with Murasaki Bara, but I ship Murasaki Bara with Hamuro. Show, you're giving me all these conflicting ships, right? Conflicting ships indeed, right? I love it. I love the idea that he's actually, and we get a really cool flashback where the animation, the sunset animation is really cool, where we see the Yosin third years like helping him. Hamuro's not there because Hamuro's not like the big giant guys like the other Yosin guys are, but they like help him to be like, you can, you know, utilize all your abilities and everything this way. And I thought that was really cool. I really liked that they're like, you're going to find people that are more powerful and more skilled than you. Like, it's a big Almine moment for Murasaki Bara of all characters. and him getting excited. I was like, that's so freaking cool. And I love that Kuroko and Kisei are like, holy shit, like he's acting like Kagami where he's really excited. We'll talk about that at the end of this movie, where he's excited to be playing against somebody. Like their expressions were like, the fudge. It was really, really good. I really loved it, that they're so surprised at how excited he is, right? That was great. And then he's actually smiling and like excited for once. I was like, what the fudge? Seeing Murasaki Bara smile, it is something else, y'all. It is something else. And they got so excited playing against Silver. And so yeah, and he's not holding back. It's great. So, but anyway, that's when he gets hurt. Like right when we have nice things. We can't have nice things happen with Kisei without him getting hurt. And then we can't have nice things happen to Murasaki Bara without him getting hurt, right? And they say his arm is broken, but I'm like, I've seen somebody break an arm before, and you'd be screaming in pain if your arm was legit broken. So I feel like he just sprained it. I feel like there's a mistranslation on Crunchyroll. If you broke your arm, you would be howling in pain. And I think he just sprained it. But him getting worked up, being like, I just want you guys to go out and win for me. And Almine and everybody is just like all intense. And then Kuroko asking him to switch with Murasaki Bara. And that's when he sees Kuroko's eyes. And he's like, fine. And he's like, I'm angry too. Like, Kuroko's angry face is legit terrifying. Legit terrifying. Kuroko getting angry. It's creepier than Murasaki Bara's smile. I love it. Just seeing him upset is great. And that's when Nash is like going up against Akashi again. And Kagami gets in the zone. It's great. Everybody's all up in the zone. Kuroko's doing his thing. Kagami and Almine are in the zone. And that's when Akashi realizes that his Emperor Eye is incomplete when they're down by like 4 points, right? It's like, what do we do, y'all? And Nash is just like seemingly unstoppable. I love it. And then that's when Akashi's trying to think about what to do, right? And then as they're getting the ball back, I like that Almine is like, we can't give up yet. We still have to beat them. And they're still like, they're down by 6 points, right? And so that's when I like, again, Mabuchi, his haircut travesty. And of course, Nash is like, you can't stop me. What I like about it is that it's kind of almost like Nash, the Belial Eye, makes him really like antagonistic, thinking he has like a god complex, which is so crazy because again, it's a tie to Akashi and the bad Akashi and all of that. It's a nice comparison between the two of them. He's getting into like Yagami vibes. And that's when Akashi has his revelation that I'm just like, okay, where he's like, at this rate, we're going to lose. He's like, when we saw his Belial Eye, we experienced the realization of a possibility that we just need to use osmosis and combine back together. It's simply incomplete. And he's like, we'll just go back to, he's like, I'll return everything so we can become one again. I'm like, so that's my thing. I was like, if you have a legit multiple personality disorder or DID or however you want to say it, you don't just go back to being one person, right? You just don't do that. That's not how it works. You can't do that. It's like, that's the thing with Almine and his depression, you know, having one moment doesn't cure you, having one happy moment doesn't cure you of your depression. You carry that with you and it's a work in progress, right? So again, it seems like the moment of them becoming one again sort of downplays the entire DID moment from what it is to just being like, well, we're just back to being Akashi again. We were never split anymore. We're just back to Akashi. And I'm just like, show, make up your mind. Again, I feel like a lot of what happens with Akashi's character is very fan subtext that is applied to the canon. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm saying that the fandom has thought way more about it than the mangaka has. And that is apparent in the narrative itself, right? That's all I'm saying. You're not wrong. Nobody's wrong. But it's just like the show doesn't quite think as hard as you all do about it. That's the only thing. And seeing even further into the future, okay. But they get 1 point behind, and he's like, does he have my eyes? And so then I feel like we got some moments with Nash, like some moments with him as a character. I need to go back and just see what those moments are, because I feel like we need to flash back to there. And they're like, we have to win. This is our final battle, right? And he's like, these monkeys. He's like, the outcome of the game is different. And I want to see, as they're going through the motions with them, and he's like, we're 10 seconds left. He's like, 10 seconds left. Like, the animation on Nash is really good. And so he says, do you think we'll lose our cool and force an attack? And he's like, no, we're just going to run the ball. Because that's such a, like I said that in the previous episode, like, it's such an American thing to do, to run the ball to end the stop clock. Like, that happens so often, and I get so mad at it. I hate when teams do that. And they do that here, so it's like, come on. He's like, we're going to pass the ball around and achieve our victory. And that's when Kuroko comes in and manages to steal the ball, and it's great. He's like, don't get cocky. And Kuroko's like, we're not going to lose, we're going to win. And then, of course, I love that it's Kagami and Aomine at the end, like, dunking it together. And they both play off of Kuroko. OT3, y'all. Do we have any questions about that? OT3. Let's just be real. Mm-hmm. And Miyazumi's like, well, that was fun. I feel like Miyazumi was the tuxedo mask meme where he's like, my job here is done. And everybody's like, you didn't do anything. And then he just soars away. I feel like it's Miyazumi. He's like, my job here is finished. I don't need to do any more. And then they have gold and silver confetti, which honestly, I feel like that they were prepared for either team to win. They were like, the gold and silver confetti will work on both sides. It is really cute where they all cheer together. That is nice. And then Kagatora's like, I have all this food and beer from all my sponsors that, you know, my physical therapy organization has connections to. And everybody's like, we can't drink like you, sir. And then, man, I love Riko's so embarrassed. And Moi's like, man, he really has a lot of money. Is your family loaded? And she's like, please don't make a fuss with it. And so, yeah, all that matters is that we have fun. And then we get the bullshit about Kagami going to America. Like, what the hell? No, like, they play one, like, catch-up game, which is such a damn tease, because we don't get to see the two teams play, right? We just see them in their uniforms doing one last pickup game. And I'm like, but wait, what? They're like, let's do this. And it's like, them versus, you know, as Kagatora's, like, drunk doing refereeing. I'm like, what the hell? And that's when Kagami announces he's going to go to high school in America. And I'm like, no. Like, who's gonna be Kuroko's light if you go? Like, what? Sayori ain't gonna do shit against the other teams without you and him working together. Like, I get Kagami chasing his dream, and that's great, but... And then they teased us with him, like, going back. Like, right, he's in line, thinking, he says, I should have left earlier, so he beat the line. Like, and then he's like, he passed with those hands. Like, it's a damn confession. It was a damn confession between the two of them. It was a Yuri on Ice, gay as hell confession. You cannot convince me otherwise. He's like, he passed with those tiny little hands. Those little basketball hands. I'm like, my southern heart is just aflutter with all of this. And he's having this moment. And then he runs back Love Actually style to go find him. And at first I was like, he's not going to America. But then he is. And Kuroko's like turning around. And he says, I thought I could do it. But after playing against Jabberwock, I realized it's not that easy. And him saying, they're really strong. He's like, without you or the Generation Miracles, we couldn't have won. And it's just his confession. He's like, when I'm in America, I'm going to run up against countless walls. What am I going to do without you? Right? If I think about what you could do. He's like, if I thought about what you'd do, I could overcome any walls. He's like, what am I saying? You're saying that you love him, damn it! It's all thanks to you. I am who I am because of you. I should be thanking you. I'm like, oh my God, shut up. Like him just crying for Kuroko, like just my heart, y'all. He says, thank you. And of course, Kuroko's like, got his head tilted up so that he won't, like, you know, show that he's crying. He's like, has it tilted up. Oh my god. Just like, I want to try to capture the moment he exactly, like, has the smile on his face. Yeah, just shut the frick up. And of course, Kuroko has his head tilted up so that you can't see him crying, to know that he feels the same way. Like, it's not, it can't rain inside the airport, right? So you can't pass it off. And he wipes his damn eyes. And he's like, you'll run up against countless walls? Of course you will. I just like, shut the frick up, right? And then the two of them looking at each other. He says, what? He's like, if anything, I'd be surprised if you thought it would go smoothly at first. He's like, I didn't say that. And then Kuroko says, I hope you run into so many walls that it kills you. He's like, because I know you'll overcome them. Oh, my heart. Oh, my heart. Oh, my heart. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I'll always be your shadow. That's a confession, damn it! It's a confession. I'll always be your shadow. He's like, yeah. And then, like, them crying together, I'm like, Kuroko, just go with him on the plane. Just go with him on the plane. They won't even notice that you're there. The attendants won't notice that you've snuck aboard. No one will notice if you're on there together. Like, it just, you could do it. Nobody's gonna care. Sabrina will forgive you. And then, yeah, him just smiling, like, letting him go. If you love something, you'll let it go, but I don't want them to let it go. Don't say goodbye to him. And then him saying, I'll be back. Like, you bitch, you better be back, right? Don't you dare. Like, I'm sorry. Nope, that was a love confession. You will never convince me otherwise. I'm sorry. It totally was. And they had the very end there. And then they see him flying away in their uniforms. But the thing about it is, like, they're all in their, like, high school uniforms together. And he's like, now we'll never play. And Murasaki Bara's like, we'll never play with him again. Not that I care. And then Midoriya was like, that's not true. And then that's when Almine says he's going to America. And he says to see Kagamichi. And he's like, of course not. I'm going there because I'm going to play in the NBA. And he's like, when? And he's like, I don't know yet, but it's going to be soon. Like, I'm like, just, for a second there, I thought all of them were just going to go to America. Like, Generation Miracles was just going to transport themselves to America. But obviously not. But I'm like, I mean, so here's the thing. I'm going to look at this in a positive light. I'm not going to look at it as my ultimate ship is being torn in two. Because here's the thing. You have Kagami in America. You have Kagami over there. Teppei is over there with Alex, right? Doing his physical therapy. So, they're going to hang out. Alex and Teppei and Kagami are going to hang out. Teppei's going to be like an old dad making dad jokes. Like, being up there. I totally, we've talked about this in the Discord. I am so in support of Teppei and Alex becoming a thing after all this is over. That'd be great. Maybe he'll stay and be a physical therapist. Have like a Sosuke moment. Be great. Wonderful. But Almine's going over there because Almine wants to be in the NBA too. He's not going to let Kagami show him up. Here's the thing. Kagami has become his ultimate rival. He's not going to let his rival just leave. No. No. And here's the thing. If Almine is going to America, you know damn well Momoe is going over there. She ain't gonna leave Almine. She's gonna go. Do you think Momoe has ties to Sakurai and Imayoshi? Imayoshi's gone. No, she's not gonna stick around. She's gonna go with Almine. And if those characters there, if your main ships with Kuroko are in America, you know who's gonna be visiting nonstop? Kuroko. He's gonna be visiting all the time to America to go check on Almine, to check on Momoe, to check on Kagami, to check on Teppei. They're all gonna go over. Himuro might hitch a ride with Kuroko to go visit, and he'll drag Murasaki Bara with him because I love Murasaki Bara being like I care, and then he gets drugged. And see, here's the thing. That would work out great too because Himuro, him going over there and dragging Murasaki Bara, right? That would get Murasaki Bara to go want to play in America because Murasaki Bara needs a competition. He's got the bug like Almine and Kagami do. They just made reference of it in the movie where Murasaki Bara has been bitten by the bug like Kagami and Almine. So he's going to go over to America. Himuro can travel with him. They'll have their shippy moments. It can all work out, right? Kisei has his ties with Kasamatsu, so he can stay with Kaijo. Midorima has his ties with Takao, so he can stay with Shitoku. Akashi has his ties. Mayuzumi will come around, and Akashi can stick around, Rakuzan, whatever, but my ship can stay together. I feel like Charlie Day off It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia making my conspiracy board of how Kuroko and them can all stay together and all of this when they all go to America. I am fully convinced that that's my headcanon. And y'all can't convince me otherwise. Headcanon. It's real. I just am really sad that Kuroko isn't going to have... He's not going to have Kagami to play with, right? But I guess that's the thing too, that it's going to establish that Kuroko will have to get stronger without him, and they'll do the exact same thing they did before. They each get stronger on their own, so that when they come together, it'll be beautiful. And Midorima's like, aren't we going to keep playing basketball? Right? He's like, Midorima's right. Kagami's just playing somewhere else right now. But we're all going to continue playing. As long as we keep playing, we'll fight again. Right? Ugh. That will keep going. Oh. Ugh. So yeah, I'm heartbroken. A part of me is heartbroken about Kagami leaving for America, but I have my headcanon that Almine is going over there. Momoi's probably going to follow him. It's only a matter of time before Kuroko visits with Himuro and Murasaki Bara, and Murasaki Bara decides to stay with Himuro, and then Kuroko just has to visit all the time. Like, I just can't destroy my ship. My ship will not crumble. You can't blow holes in it. No. Hey, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Am I right? So just stick with that. So let's talk about the end cards. The end card for the movie is them all with their Vorpal swords hanging out there, and they're all just like fist bumping the camera. Murasaki Bara has his arm in the sling. It's very cute. I like that. There was also some other end cards as well that I wanted to bring up with you all because I thought they were pretty cool. Anime Annie shared them. I didn't watch any of the recap movies because I was like, I've already seen the anime. I don't need to see the recap movies. But Anime Annie sent the end cards for them, so I wanted to share them with you all. So we have the first one, which is Almine, Kuroko, and Kagami with little number 2. I love it. I love that Kuroko has his own, like, they have their caps with their own initials on it, which is kind of cool. It's very cute. Kagami has so much hair that the cap doesn't quite fit. Then we have Murasaki Bara, as well as with Himuro, and then Kasamatsu and Kisei, so we're having our ships. I like that we have our OT3 of Kuroko, Almine, and Kagami, proving once again, if Almine goes to America, you better damn believe that Kuroko's going to be visiting. Just saying. For both of their sakes, right? But we have the pairing of, we have Himuro with Murasaki Bara, and we have Kasamatsu with Kisei. Then, our other ship, we have Takao with Midorima, and we have Mayuzumi with Akashi. Akashi looks absolutely ridiculous with the hat backwards, but Midorima doesn't fare much better. None of them should wear hats. I can't say anything. I can't wear hats. But what I love is that when you put them all together, you get this big long one here where it looks like Murasaki Bara, like, just hanging around with, like, on his phone, and Himuro's texting him, and then Kasamatsu's like looking and Kisei's there. But then you have, like, I don't know what Takao is showing Kagami and Midorima on his laptop, but Midorima looks the least amused, like the most unimpressed. It's actually such a funny look on Midorima's face. I love it. But yeah, we have Akashi and Mayuzumi. There you go. See? Be totally fine. I'm alright with it. But yeah, had all those end cards. They were great. We also have a song. I have not forgot about the song. The Vorpal Swords song. We are Vorpal Swords. What? Anime Annie put the song together. I'll have a link to it down below so you all can listen to it as well on your own time. But I said I would listen to it with this, so that is exactly what we are about to do. I'm really excited to listen and see what this is about. But so I'll have it up here in the corner so y'all can see too. But we are going to start this song. It's 5 minutes long. I'm like, but you know, let's see what this big old jamboree is about. And we're gonna do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. We're getting. What? There was no sound at first. So I was like, oh my god. What are all of them with these beautiful outfits with their hair pushed back? What? What? I love Kagami with his hair like parted like that. What? Like Kisei looks about the same as his Midorima, but Almine and them with their hair pushed back? What? Uh-huh. And Murasaki Bara obviously has a sucker, of course. The voice actor for Akashi can just make his voice change so easily. It's crazy. This feels like such a poppy Dance Dance Revolution song. They feel like an idol group. This is very idol. It's crazy. Our burning bodies, huh? Uh-huh, okay. Oh my god. We're not alone anymore. Oh, we're gonna triumph with the joy of believing in each other. God, the rainbows. Oh, hell yeah. Good, Anime. Get some of that in there. Yes, please. Nice. Oh, even though we'll be on different routes tomorrow. Oh, that was Kagami's voice sounds really good there. Oh, all these lyrics are so sad because they're so bittersweet. Them all working together. Oh. Oh. Oh my god. I love all their outfits in this. This makes my heart so full. Our burning bodies breaking through the limits together. Well, I mean. Oh. I love it. My heart. The greatest miracle? Oh, shut up. Oh. Unaffected by the sprinkle of sweat. Oh. This feels so bittersweet. Oh, Kagami, yes, please. And, oh, him and Junichi. I love it. Oh, yes, please. Thank you. Oh, that shot, yes, with the gold around them. Oh my god, right? Ah! This is really sweet. Yeah, it's like they actually were gonna commit homicide. I love it. The title's so cheesy, but this is such a good, like, little send-off for them. Aww. An oath to the future, yes! We're gonna still be together by the end of this. Ah. Come on now. Oh. My heart, y'all. My heart. Aww. Yes. Oh, oh my God. Oh, y'all. My heart, my heart, my heart. My heart. That was so cute. Oh, it really did feel like an end of an era, right? Oh, so yeah, I really liked this movie an awful lot. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I wanted to go back and try to find those moments where Nash like tapped into the zone because I felt like we got like a little bit with his character where he showed us like a few little things about him where he got that reveal. There was a really good shot of him and Akashi, and there was like the gold, like him in the golden light, right? That was a really good shot between the two of them. Because yeah, he used it. He used his powers against Nash for the first time, and we did see some like little shots of his character. Okay, I found it. I found the shot. I found it. Okay, so it's like towards the end where he says idiots, and we get like a little glimpse of his past, right? It's like towards he's like making mistakes in the final quarter. And so he says, but I'm different, right? He makes that comment, I'm different. They have no idea the kind of carnage I've seen. And so we see him like in a very Kisei like Kaijo blue jersey as number 6, like going through like playing against some others. We see him like playing against other players like when he's younger doing street ball. And then we see like him surrounded by other guys there. And that's it. And that's all we see. So it's like a very brief glimpse of everything with Nash's character, right? It's so interesting. And that's when he like gets past Akashi and goes over with the crossover, right? Interesting. And has like the moment where he like has the light pass through him. It's very, very intriguing. Very intriguing indeed. So yeah. So it's fascinating. But I guess my thing with Nash versus Akashi, because I know a lot of people will be like, well, they're very similar characters if that's the case and there's all these parallels. But it's just the fact that Nash is never presented as being like a good guy. He's just always like, no, he's an antagonist. That's the point. We build him up as a villain. He's the antagonist, and then we beat him. And yeah, there's not... And I get why you would want more with Akashi because he needs to become friends with everybody later on. But... it's just interesting, right? And we can talk about it in the comments, but I almost forgot there was another movie thing I needed to do for this reaction. I went to bed. I went to bed and was like, well, I'll edit that video in the morning. And then when I woke up, I was like, I didn't do the bloopers. So Anime Annie went out and recorded the bloopers for this movie set, which I cannot find the bloopers online because of copyright. So Anime Annie, who is across the pond, did an amazing thing by recording these bloopers for me and then sending me the recording so I could react to it because I can't find them anywhere. So yeah, they're only 2.5 minutes. It's nothing crazy, but I was just like, I forgot them, and this morning I was like, oh, I thought for a second of including them next week in the 10th anniversary, and I was like, no, they're movie bloopers. They need to go with the movie. So yeah, so thank you, Anime Annie, for recording those. I'm sorry, I almost forgot about them. There was just so much movie stuff going on, right? But we're going to look at the movie bloopers for the last game of Kuroko's basketball, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's check this out, y'all. What? Huh? What's with these guys? Ah! Oh! The bill! Oh. Huh. What? 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 Oh, look at the little gold and silver birds. Oh my god. Oh my god. So that's like they can't pay for their bills, so they can't go home. Oh my god. What? The one silver going, what? with I mean, he says, guys, doing the English. That's great. So, that was a great way to start my day. So yeah, back to the original reaction. Man, what a great movie, though. I really, really enjoyed the movie a lot. I loved it. I thought it was really good. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It had so many twists and turns and just lots of things I didn't expect, and I had so much fun with it. So what now? Well, we have the 10th anniversary stuff coming up next week. We have the 10th anniversary audio drama as well as the song and looking at that. And then I'm going to be starting the manga this week to review the manga. So, and then after the 10th anniversary stuff, we have audio dramas, we have light novels, we have a character guidebook. There's so many audio dramas that I'm going to be separating them into parts, and we have like so many light novels that I'm going to be reading through those. So it's like, oh my god, there's just a lot. So yeah, there's just a lot to look through, y'all, but I'm really excited to get to it. All right, so it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you all are excited because I definitely am. And we have tons more Kuroko's content to get through. But I'm very excited to hear your comments down below about the movie. I hope you all enjoyed my reaction and discussion. But I can't wait to hear your thoughts as well. So, man, the end of an era with Kuroko's Basketball, the animated stuff. But there's still so much content to get through. And I'm really excited for the manga. So, in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with more Kuroko's Basketball. Bye.